know what day it is. I don't even know my own name.
Amnesia in our little town.
That's him.
I have an idea that is poetic in its justice.
I'm here to pick up my husband.
You really my wife?
For better or worse, baby.
Overboard is the full-length feature directorial debut of Rob Greenberg, and is simultaneously a remake and a sequel to the 1987 movie of the same name, which starred Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. How can it be both? Clearly it's a remake, as it's almost the exact same story, to the point where a number of scenes, including most of the dialogue, are taken directly from the original. However, it's a sequel in that there's a scene, and this may be a little spoilery, but I don't care, where a doctor is talking about amnesia and mentions that they hadn't seen a case of it since that young lady back in the 80s. Obviously a direct reference to the original Overboard, while also suggesting that both movies share the same timeline. Overboard really feels like two different movies, and one is notably better than the other. The first half of Overboard is really bad. Painfully bad. It feels like the director had heard of character development, but had never actually seen it done. And what we get in an attempt at said character development is a lot of seemingly random cuts between characters that really feels disjointed. I understand what was supposed to be happening with all these cuts, but I feel it could have been handled way better than it actually was. It doesn't help that neither of our leads are particularly likable. Leonardo, played by Eugenio Derbez, is your standard worthless, daddy never disciplined me, easily despicable rich guy. Kate, played by Anna Faris, is a widow with 3 girls working 2 jobs and going to school to be a nurse. We're not supposed to like Leonardo. Fine. We are supposed to at least be able to sympathize with Kate. And they try to make this work by making her reluctant to follow through on the idea of lying to him about their marital status. But once she does follow through, things just get uncomfortable and mean-spirited, and I started feeling bad for the rich playboy instead of the widowed mother. Now, like I said, this really feels like 2 different movies, and about halfway through it actually takes a turn and becomes a pretty good one. But again, not because of Kate, because of Leonardo. Also, the crew of guys that Leonardo ends up working with are a blast, and should really get their own movie. I was especially impressed by Josh Segarra and Jesus Ochoa, who played Jason and Vito respectively. This group of guys really helped to ground the rest of the movie while also providing most of the comedic moments. That said, I should warn you. There are 2 official trailers for this movie, and if you've seen both, you've seen all the funny stuff. Plus, if you've seen the original movie, there are no plot twists that you're not aware of. By the time the drama started, I was invested enough that I really felt for Kate and Leo, and even more so for Kate's 3 daughters, Emily, Olivia, and Molly, played by Hannah Nordberg, Olivia Aylen Lind, and Peyton Lipinski, respectively. It manages to pull off a pretty good gut punch when Kate and Leo decide to go their separate ways. In the end, Overboard's a fairly decent movie that is very much carried by the performance of Eugenio Derbez, but ultimately lacks anything particularly original or interesting. Unless, of course, you haven't seen the original, and then it might be worth watching. I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 stars. It might be worth seeing, but not paying money for. At least not paying a lot of money for. And I don't see ever adding it to my Blu-ray collection. Alright, that's it, kids. Have you seen Overboard yet? Have you seen the original Overboard? If you've seen both, which one do you like better? What are your favorite Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn movies? For me, it's 1986's Big Trouble in Little China for Russell, and 1989's Wildcats for Hawn. There's been rumors of a remake of Big Trouble in Little China starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for a while now. And while I consider myself to be a pretty big fan of Dwayne Johnson's, I have to say I really hope that doesn't happen. I know, that's just me. Anyways, as always, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next week.